In this video, we're going to use the curves and the ripple. Now, I've made this curvy border style several times, and I love it every single time. Very fast and something very repeatable that you can do and get different results even though you're doing the same thing. So I was very excited because I'll actually be using different curves. So I was very excited because I'll actually be using different curves. Before I used the decorative trimmer. So I've made this using this tool. It's discontinued. It will not be coming back. And so these are the new tools. So I'm excited about having a new way of doing an old favorite technique. I'll be making a 2-page layout. Here's my photos. These are my right side photos. Here are my left side photos. And then I have this paper from Sun Soaked as my background. I'm going to use this paper from Boho Escape as sort of a theme paper. I'm also going to use this paper from the Sun Soaked Tonals and this green from Gem Tones. So I definitely mix and match my collections because that's what works for me and that is what I like. I will say this green was because I want a paper that is a good contrast to this paper. In many cases, but just not this one, if the back side of the paper has a good contrast, then I could have used that paper to do the job that this green is going to do. And the reason I'm not doing that is because this blue paper is the background and that blue and this blue are not compatible. So this looks well on here. The green looks good on here. The orange looks good on here. So we're going to start with the ripples and the curves templates. This is such a fast and easy technique. If you have a 6-inch by 3-inch piece of paper, if you have 2 of those, you can make this over and over again. So 3 inches of pattern number 1. And 3 inches of pattern number 2. Okay, we have 2 pieces that are both 3 inches wide. And we want to cut one with the curves and one with the ripple. And so we want that cut to be roughly in the middle. And so I'm using the sizing template that comes with the cutting templates to try to gauge about where I want that middle line to go. And I'm going to be using a red blade, so I'm going to follow the red blade line. So I've kind of aligned my sizing template so that the red line is going to go about where I want it down the middle. And now I'm going to move my template over to the black line, because what if the edge of the template is on the black line, then my red blade is going to cut where the red line is. And I'm kind of trying to figure out where I want to position my template to get it where I want it and where I would put my blade. So I'm using the measurements on my 13 by 13 inch mat, and I'm looking at where I want to put the edge of this cutting template so that my red blade will go down the paper about where I want it. And the number I'm coming up with here right now is about 5/8 of an inch from the edge of the paper. So take the edge of the paper and count back 5/8 of an inch. So now that I know where I want it to go, very, very important is I'm going to slide out the template. And if my template slid, that's okay because I remembered how to position the edge of my template to get the cut where I'm going to want it to be. So I'm going to be using my red blade. Make sure you get it in this groove. Want to be sure you get those little feet into that groove. Now I can pull my little washi tape to kind of hold my template kind of steady, keep it from shifting too much on me. And now I'm cutting roughly down the middle, and I've made my first cut. This was the ripple cut. Next, we're going to cut our other template using the curves. So I want to look with my sizing template to get my curves about in the middle. And I think that that line will be pretty good. Maybe shift it a little more this way. Okay, and now kind of figure out where my template would fit and look at where my edge is. And my edge should be about 3/4 of an inch, the edge of my template, 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the paper. So now that I know where to put my template, I will put it back down and measure it from that edge to be about 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the template. And that red line should give me, looks like where I want to be. Put a little washi tape on here. And I do use my washi tape over and over again till it really loses its stickiness, because you don't need much stickiness. And take the red blade, make sure that the little dots are in there, and curve. These templates are probably going to get used so much till I'll need a new blade soon. But it does cut very easily. And here's my second cut. Now, I'm the type of person who could take this and do it over and over again. I could just take a weekend and just make layouts over and over again. So let's look at what we have. Okay, we have ripples and curves. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and make a border out of these two pieces. We're going to put these two pieces together and make a border out of these two pieces. And so let's put them on the pages. So I want this one on the left and this one on the right. And I usually put this one on the lower side, on the right hand side, I put that down low. And on the left hand side, I put this up at the top of the page. And here is about where my photos will go. I'm going to do a little trimming of my photos, but that's pretty much where they're going to go. But I'm going to put some decoration and embellishment over here, and there'll be an opportunity for some over here as well once I trim these photos. Okay, our next step is to make a decorative element for our left-hand border, and we're going to do that using the middle-sized custom cutting template. Now we're going to make essentially a donut, and so we're going to first cut our outer ring with our red blade. Yeah, this red blade is certainly going to get a workout here. And I've had this thing for years, and it's still cutting just fine. Just shows you how well Creative Memories products work. Okay, so our first cut on the middle-sized circular template is going to be with the red blade on the outside track. So the outside track, make sure you get those two little feet in there. One way you can make sure is to just lightly spin it around before you begin your cutting. The washi tape helps keep the template from shifting. And there we go. Okay, we're going to pull that away. I'm going to put a little washi tape on the outer ring here before I remove the washi tape we put on the inner ring, because we're going to now cut our inner ring. And we don't use this centerpiece. We may. I'm going to first put my right hand side borders down. So I'm putting this edge at about 2 inches at the 2-inch mark. And that gives me about a 1/8 inch clearance here on the bottom. And then now we'll cover this seam with something. I'll figure that out later. But this is the gist of our right hand side. I think that is a beautiful base page. So the first thing we want to do is to do a fit check. We want to see where this circle is going to fit once we thread through our 2 borders here. So because this is new to me, we're going to figure out where this ring is going to fit and how much overlap is going to be between the green and the tropical paper. This is coming together very nicely. Okay, this fits lovely. This is going to fit very nice. Now if it ever didn't fit, there are some workarounds. But the first thing I want to notice is about how far does the tip of my top strip go, and it looks like about 1 1/2 inch. If I start with this strip 1 1/2 inches, and then I end this one at 4 inches down, then it's a great fit. Now, one thing I did not do, which I could have, which was ink all of my edges. And for the sake of speed, I'm not going to ink them this time, but I assure you, I really like making this border. This is the third time in just a few months I've made it, and I love it every single time. So we're going to begin by putting adhesive on our first border, and um, going to adhere it down at 1 1/2 inches. We're going to start at 1 1/2 inches from the top, but we're not going to really press down on the right hand side just yet. And the same goes for the lower piece. We're going to put it at about the 4 inches because that seems to be where the overlap was good. Okay, now we didn't press the right side down. Now we're going to put adhesive on our donut. And take the multi-purpose tool, lift up our donut, and thread our strips through it. And see where we have a really good fit. Push it over. I'm pushing it as far to the right as I can, and that's gone through beautifully. Now I haven't selected something to cover the seam on either side. It could be a sticker, it can be a chain from a border punch or a border maker cartridge. It could be just a strip of paper. So let me go and see what I want to cover this with, and we'll finish up this layout. I have found some stickers that I like from Totally Tonal Zoo. Some border stickers here that I think will be just right. Now I actually like both this one and this one, but I'm going to go with the leaf design. And I could thread this over or under my donut. And I think I wanted to go across the donut. No, this time I'm going to go underneath the donut. So this takes a little, being a little careful, because Creative Memory stickers are quite sticky. But I do like this. There we go. And that really gives the right vibe for this. And this is a base page that is fast, beautiful, and very versatile. I mean, you change up the papers and you change the vibe, but you have a lot of beautiful options here. So once I put on my photos, that's going to drive how I want to embellish. So I'll be back with that. So I've reached a point on my layout here where once I have my photos down, I've decided that I want mats behind them. So for this one, I want one large mat, and my photo sizes are 5 1/2 inches wide and 3 1/2 inches tall. I'm going to cut a mat that is 7 3/8 inches tall and 11 3/8 inches wide. I'm also going to cut mats for this side. So I thought of bringing this color to this side of the page, and right now this is actually the left side. I have them reversed. But when I cut the donut, the ring, I didn't have enough paper left, and I did not also have another sheet of this. So I went back to my sun-soaked tonal, and I got a similar color, which I can cut large enough to be a large mat, and it still works beautifully with the layout. So I'm going to cut that mat first, and that mat is 7 3/8. So the first cut is 7 3/8 of an inch. So that's just shy of 7.5. So 7 3/8. And next I'll turn it and cut it at 11 3/8. 11 3/8. That made all the difference in the world. So my photos are just about 3.5 inches tall. So I'm going to now cut this to 3 3/4 inch, 1/4 inch wider than the photo. And now that they're 5 3/4 inches, 6 inches will be 1/4 inch more than the photo. So I'll cut this at 6. So I now have some photo mats that are 6 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches. And that really improved my layout. I like it. Let me get the photos adhered. Here is our final layout. I made a couple of embellishment clusters and put on a title. I used the camera die from their early release die cutting machine bundle, which will be coming out for customers to purchase in 2026. If you're interested, see your advisor. If you don't have an advisor, you can reach out to me. I got all of the photos matted. I did one big block here and then individually there. I found a journaling spot. For the embellishment, I used that circle that I punched out of the center of this ring here. I used the Monstera leaf border punch and the gum leaf punch. I'm usually a diagonal embellishment person. I'm leaving this area right here clear of any photos or embellishments to give the eye a place to rest. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making this layout. And if you did, YouTube says there's another video around here that you might be interested in watching. See you in the next video.